The Rocket Review is sponsored by Why Not Saloon.
They are known as one of the best front porch blues bands in the world. We've got them back on the show, the incredible Reverend Peyton and the Big Damn Band, but I've got Reverend Peyton and Washboard Breezy. Great to see the two of you.
It's awesome to be here.
Good to be back.
We love talking with you, Eric, because you're just the real deal, enthusiastic, and you know your stuff. And it's
A
just
guitar nerd like
it's just like me, which I love to nerd out about guitars. And probably, I'll be talking on stage and Breezy's always like, nobody cares. Play the next song. It's you and 2 or 3 other guitar nerds that are here. They want to hear you sing a song.
You know, if somebody wants to come up and talk washboard, she's all about it. You know, right there, she's like, yeah, let's
how does it happen?
It's a niche, though.
Yeah, it is.
You got a niche. You know, speaking of a great niche, the brand new album, Honeysuckle, came out in February, and I can't get enough of this album. I'll tell you what, we got to talk about it to where you went with a different producer here in Nashville, Vance Powell, right?
Yeah, well, so Vance, he mixed it. So the interesting thing about this record is it was recorded in my living room. Old guitars, old microphones, but it's got a bunch of really cool special guests on it. And Vance produced our last record and mixed it. And I was just like, Vance, I'm working on this thing in my house. Can you mix it? He's like, yeah, send it over. So, and then I was really nervous because he's such a talent. I was worried what he's going to think about what I did, and
he's worked with a couple other popular bands like Jack White and a couple other ones.
Chris Stapleton stuff.
Yeah. It'll work out for us.
There's a few names you might
know. Handful of Grammys,
He goes, it's great, Rev, it's great. So it made me feel really good because he knows.
Yeah. Well, and I've got to bring up also, Breezy, to where we were talking about some of the guests that you guys have on here. And I noticed right off the bat, and I know you're going to have a new music video also with the McCrary Sisters.
I love those ladies. They are just salt of the earth. They really are.
And it's like, and it was so neat. And we were talking about this before we came in studio, to where in the mix, I can really hear on this acoustic version, the washboard and everything come through more. It seems like you get more of the nuances.
Yeah. There's a lot of space on the record. And I think that helps. And I wanted to be, I guess the best way to put it is I didn't want any notes on the record that didn't belong, right? I wanted to be conservative with notes in a way, with the exception of maybe a couple of songs on the record. I said, well, no, I'm not going to go out. And I did a pretty good job, but and in that way, I think it's open. You can feel the room, you can feel everything. It feels really good.
Well, and I think what I love, and it's so hard for me to pick favorite songs on here besides Honeysuckle, Looking for a Manager, and then Like a Treasure, One Dime Blues. But also you cover so many different styles in here, Rev, to where it's not only the blues that you and I were raised on, and certainly you studied on in Clarksdale, but also you've got spiritual in here, and you've got the 50s, 60s rock thing going with it, Like a Treasure. And I told you, it's like, it seems like you're channeling Meatloaf,
That song, it's funny. You're the only person that's noticed that Like a Treasure is, in my mind, I was trying to write a song like a 60s R&B song. Now, it's on the resonator guitar. It's on a 1930 resonator, so it feels very much like a country blues piece. But the way the song was put together, I really was thinking about like 60s R&B.
It sounds so good, but also, certainly you've got such a strong voice, and, with the 3-piece band, you guys sound so cohesive together, but it really lets your voice shine in a different way too, Rev.
Well, thanks. I think, if I can talk about myself, I think I'm just getting better as I've gotten older.
Well, and I think you're getting more comfortable with your vocals because you've always been comfortable with the guitar.
That's for sure.
And that's
it's crazy. Like you think, I know this sounds pretty simplistic, but we've toured now a lot of shows. We've done a lot of shows across the world, and I think it was just...
I was thinking about that the other day, because Frank Turner counts all of his shows, and, he's like, oh, my 3,000 show. And I'm like, we've done a lot more than that. I need to go back and try to count them.
Well, and especially this year with the Porch Stomp tour that's going international. So you guys are going back across the pond over to the UK, going to see some of my friends there. You're doing the Netherlands. It's like you're all over. And now also you guys are headliners. Before you certainly toured with other groups and everything, but now Reverend Peyton and the Big Damn Band are headliners of these shows. Yeah. That's huge.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
And also, I got to bring this up to where you've been on the Apple charts. You've also been on the other charts with, number 1, number 3, number 4 with the album with your songs. Yeah. And you had a new song come out too about your experience with LeVar Burton.
Yeah, that's a pretty interesting thing. Yeah, that's cool. So this podcast called Pod Songs reached out to us and said, we are a podcast that we identify artists that we like, and we go to them and say, hey, identify a person that inspires you. So it was like, okay, who do I pick? And Breezy said, you should do LeVar Burton. And I'm like, well, LeVar will never talk to me. There's no way. He's not going to talk to me. That's not going to happen. But he did. He came right at us. And so how it works is we have this conversation, an in-depth conversation, really talking about inspiration.
Right.
And then it's my job to write a song about it. And I did. And it's out.
Well, and I got to say this also for our viewers. You want to go and see this podcast and listen to this song, but also the touching moment that brought, me to almost tears was where LeVar is saying how much of a master you are and giving you the credit and I think, once again, in my heart also, I think you're one of the best fingerstyle blues guitarists in the world right now. And for him to say that, that's what a compliment.
It was like being blessed by a shaman.
Yeah. I mean, you and I were talking about too.
With all the down day, just rewatches it on his phone. He's got like a 60-second thing where it's a bar build. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, how incredible is that? Particularly with all you and Breezy have accomplished and all the challenges and everything through the years. Certainly, the accident and everything last year. And I was so worried about you. But I keep up also just to see what kind of fish you're catching. Because a lot of times you guys are on the road and in between doing tours and shows.
Sometimes you got to take a break, catch a fish.
And also, sometimes you got to go out and have a custom guitar made.
That's right.
Like a brand new Gibson.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a gorgeous instrument you got there.
Oh, I love it. I've been so terrible at this. It's all I want to play.
And that is the Reverend Peyton's signature model, right? I mean, your name's on the track.
And it's right here in Nashville's where I got it, so it's really cool.
How special is
the
that?
flashiest guitar you can imagine.
Is it almost as flashy as like your washboard? Because I know at a certain point,
He's becoming the Liberace of the. But he can't set it on fire, Breezy. Yeah, he has not set it on fire. I would not allow him to set.
No, that's not.
No, everyone knows like my new Gibson. Like people like I'm like, don't even look at it too hard.
It's like Spine Attack. Didn't point at it, but I mean, it's shiny.
It is. It's shiny. It just catches those stage lights. She's like. Blind people who are like, oh.
It's so nice, particularly compared to all the vintage instruments and everything that you take on the road also. But what I always enjoy, and once again, I think especially with this new album, Honeysuckle, is that you and the band always push the boundaries. You never rest on your laurels. You've had hit songs, you've had great albums in the past, but you guys are always pushing the envelope. And to me, this one is a great reflection of everything you guys do.
Yeah, well, thank you.
And to be able to pull that off on stage with a three-piece band.
I think sometimes if you're a real artist, I think you have to, right? And sometimes you miss the mark, I think, if you're going to do that. If you're pushing the envelope, you're going to miss the mark every now and then.
I don't think you missed the mark on any of these songs.
Well, thank you.
Any of them.
I'm really proud of it. And I think that also, too, that this is a record that is, despite, like things like a treasure, peaking some 60s R&B, it really it's a country blues record. And I'm really proud of it.
Well, and to keep that music alive, and certainly even with the cover that you had shot here with this great artwork, I hope you have this on a t-shirt also and for posters.
Bill Steber is an amazing photographer. Yeah. He just.
And shot in the old style.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But how long? He had to sit there for 20, 25 seconds.
Yeah, I had to hold still.
Wow. Yeah.
Just looks incredible. I'll tell you what, I want to make sure for our viewers that they know to come out and see you live because, you guys are known for your live show. Where do they need to go for the website, for the social media, everything that you guys are doing?
BigDamnBand.com. That's the best way. And we're on all the stuff. We're on Instagram and
everywhere
and Facebook and YouTube, and it's all Big Damn Band,
And I'll tell you what, be sure and order the vinyl. Go see them live. You can get it autographed. Also, you might see a flaming washboard by Washboard Breezy, and also
fire marshal, which I've never done that.
Yeah, no actual washboards were harmed. But be sure and go see them live. Get the album. Add it to your playlist. Also, Rev's got a brand new song out on Spotify, Apple, all digital platforms. But get this entire album. It's also available on CD.
It is.
And we're going to have some new merch. Reverend Peyton and the Big Damn Band. Reverend Peyton, Breezy.
Thank you so much.
So good to have you both on. Look forward to having you back in, and they'll be back for Americana Fest also.
That's right.
Check them out.
The Rocket Review is sponsored by Why Not Saloon.